media and advertising. And we get a lot of advice from these sources. If we talk about the media is just going to confuse you. And your doctor, if he doesn't have a personal experience with low carbohydrate, high fat diet, he's going to think you're crazy when you tell him you're eating low carb, high fat. The truth is that only you can know the answer about what's healthy for you. Only you can know it. You can only know it from your own experience. So just do it. You know, divorce the wheat. Cut the killer carbs out of your diet for 3 months and just see what happens. You can judge from your own results the same way that I judged from my results. That's how I made up my mind. It was not based on, I've read a lot of books about low carb diets and health, but I read them after I lost the weight. Because I wanted to see, I was so amazed, I wanted to see why does this work? What's the physiology behind it? And so, there are basically in the world, there are two kinds of doctors. There's one kind who is, most doctors, like most doctors, is well-intentioned, well-educated, intelligent guy who really wants to help you. But he doesn't have either a personal experience or a patient experience with the power of a low-carbohydrate, high-fat diet. And that's why he doesn't recommend it. And then there are the doctors that we talked about earlier. All of these doctors who speak publicly about the low-carbohydrate, high-fat diet, these people have all had a personal experience. So there are those who have had an experience and those who haven't. And those who have become sold-out believers, just like me. If you need a doctor here in town, go see Dr. Ben Edwards. You can make an appointment. And he uses the low-carb, high-fat, anti-inflammatory diet along with probiotics and nutrients. Other things that aren't recommended in most doctors' office, and he's had outstanding results. The number for his clinic is 771-1160. So if you're looking for a doctor who understands and will work with you hand in hand, you can be on the same path, then that's who you should call here in town. In fact, I'll tell you the reason I first gave this talk last year was that I met with the surgeon. He was a bariatric surgeon, which is a weight loss surgeon. I saw him at a coffee shop and we started chatting. And he said, what brought you to Lubbock? And I said, well, I have family in Odessa. We really like Texas Tech. It's a great place to raise a family. It's a great place to be a doctor. We like the people here. We like the university. And we love it here. And I said, well, I asked him, the bariatric surgeon, I said, what brought you to Lubbock? He said, well, Lubbock is the second fattest city in Texas. So it wasn't about how great the people were or the university. Lubbock is a place where bariatric surgeons can shoot fish in a barrel. Lubbock is the barrel, and we are the fish. Okay? Next, I want to talk about these people. These are the media and advertising. And we talked earlier that media and advertising are a horrible place to get your information because you get this headline. Eggs linked to diabetes. And guess what the headline is tomorrow? Eggs may improve your glucose control. So which is it? I mean, are eggs bad for diabetes or good for diabetes? And then you get a headline like this. Processed meats linked to cancer. And then hot dogs, they may prevent cancer. So which is it? This guy's picture up at the top, his name is Tom Naughton. And Tom Naughton made an exceptional video called Science for Smart People. And I recommend you just Google Tom Naughton Science for Smart People. It's on his Fathead website. All of those headlines, number one, are real headlines. Number two, they come out of what are called population-based studies. And we mentioned this earlier. Population-based studies can show association. But population-based studies they cannot show causation. And so with the media, that's why the headlines always say are linked to, or may improve, are associated with. Because population-based studies can't show causation. And that's how you get the contradictory headlines every other day. In Tom Naughton's video, Science for Smart People, he also explains about clinical trials and drugs, and the way they're reported to us versus what the results actually some slides from Naughton's talk. You should watch his talk. But basically, he talks about the Lipitor clinical trials. They treated men with Lipitor for 10 years and men with placebo for 10 years. These men were all at high risk for a heart attack, okay? And 2 men over 10 years in the Lipitor group, 2 of 100 had a heart attack. In those treated with a placebo, which means not treated with Lipitor, 3 out of 100 had a heart attack. So that means that for every 100 men who took Lipitor for 10 years, 1 heart attack was prevented. Those are men at high risk for a heart attack. So the difference, 3 minus 2, 1. But that's not the way that these are reported to you statistically. Statistically, they're reported as what's called a relative risk reduction, which means you take the number 1 and subtract the smaller number divided by the biggest number, like this. Smaller divided by the biggest, subtract 1 minus that is 0.36, so 36%. And the way that those clinical trials where 1 heart attack was prevented in 10 years for every 100 men taking Lipitor was reported and advertised like this. Lipitor reduces the risk of heart attack by 36%. The problem with this advertisement is that it gives the impression that 1/3 of the men taking Lipitor are benefiting. But the truth is, 1 in 100 men who take Lipitor and are at high risk for a heart attack are actually benefiting. But the question is, the thing is, they're all true. They're all different ways to state the information. They're all true, but, which makes the best ad and the best headline? Lipitor reduces the risk of heart attack by 36%. That sounds impressive. Or, for every 100 men who are at high risk for a heart attack and who take Lipitor every single day for 10 years, 1 heart attack is prevented. That's also completely true. Or this drug was found to benefit 1% of the men who take it, which is also true. Or 1 heart attack is prevented for every 365,000 doses of Lipitor taken. So, the media and advertising, they're interested in selling things. And the advertisements on TV for all the drugs that Ashley talked about, like Dr. Elton mentioned, they're about selling things. And you really don't need a lot of these drugs. You can improve much of your health just with a low-carb, high-fat diet. So, since your doctor probably doesn't have experience with it, you need to do your own reading, listen to your own body, and be convinced by your own results. Because that's what convinced me. What convinced me was my weight loss results. I felt better. I had more energy. My blood pressure went down almost 20 points. And it was easy. But people ask all the time, what about heart attack? What about heart disease? If you eat a high-fat diet, aren't you going to drop dead of a heart attack? Atherosclerosis is what causes heart attack and stroke. And if you're on a low-fat, if you're on a high-fat, low-carbohydrate diet, watch all these risk factors that disappear. Diabetes, gone. Hypertension, gone. Dyslipidemia, which is low HDL, high triglycerides, gone. Obesity, gone. Inflammation, chronic inflammatory diseases, CRP and fibrinogen, they're all related to inflammation, and those all improve. Homocysteine improves, lipoprotein A improves, metabolic syndrome, gone. High blood pressure, gone. Diabetes, gone. We mentioned those, and obesity, gone. So the only things that the low-carbohydrate, high-fat diet really can't improve or doesn't improve are things that you can't change, like your age. Low-carb diet can change your age or your family history. And cigarette smoking, you have to do that on your own. I'll recommend you a book if you need to stop smoking. It's called Alan Carter's Easy Way to Stop Smoking. A friend recommended that. So what you should do is take action today and go ahead and cut the killer carbs. You know, cut them out of your diet and just cut the bottom off the food pyramid. Really eat more real food, less packaged food, and more healthy fat. And embrace your body. You know, Dr. Hudson said, well, your body was born for health. And the way that I always put it is that you were born perfect. Your body is perfect right now, just as you are right here. You just have to feed your body fuel that it understands. And your body doesn't understand cereal grains and processed and refined carbohydrates. In order to do this, you really need to reprogram your subconscious mind, because there are lots of decisions that you make at a subconscious level about food. You fear fat subconsciously. You think that whole wheat bread and oatmeal are healthy for you subconsciously because you've been programmed that way for 30 years. And so there's a CD that you all happen to hand out, and also you can download it online. Excuse me. The CD are 7 meditations, and those meditations, what you do is you listen to, there are 4 meditations. Listen to meditation 1 before bed each night for 3 weeks. Meditation 2 before bed each night for 3 weeks. Meditation 3 before bed each night for 3 weeks, and meditation 4. And you do those meditations 3 weeks at a time, each of them for a total of 12 weeks, and that helps to reprogram your subconscious mind. And this is the brain, and you may have heard the expression that, you know, humans only use 10% of their brain, or they only use 2% of their brain. That's because the other 90 to 98% is your subconscious mind. When you walk, you never think about which foot to put forward first. You just have to know where to go. And that's because your brain subconsciously runs the walking program. When you ride a bike, the first time you ride a bike, it's really difficult. And it's difficult until you learn how to do it. And after you learn how to do it, riding a bike is as easy as riding a bike. That's the expression. That's because you run the bicycle riding program. And there are all these connections throughout your brain. And as you do the meditations, you're going to start erasing some of the connections in your subconscious mind. The first one you'll erase is the whole grains are healthy program. You got to get rid of that. And as you keep doing the meditations, you'll erase the fear the fat and cholesterol program. Erase the eat more carbs and less fat, and erase the eat the food pyramid. But the good thing is the meditations, they don't leave your mind a blank. They don't erase all the stuff in your head. They replace the whole grains are healthy with get healthier with less whole grain. They replace the fear the fat with the body actually runs better on fat and cholesterol. They replace eat the food pyramid with eat real food, foods that don't require labels. And they replace the eat more carbs with the cut the killer carbs program. I've had feedback from people who did the program last year, and people who came to the seminar or watched it online. And those people who both watched the online seminar and did the meditations had the best results. Those people who just did one, either the seminar or just did the meditations, they sometimes didn't have as good results. So the meditations are a powerful tool. The whole idea was to take the willpower out of changing your diet, to where you don't have to think about it, you don't have to struggle, you don't have to have an internal conflict in order to change your diet. So reprogram with the website. And first of all, the meditation. The 2013 seminar video is worth watching. It shows everything I ate for 2 weeks along with other information. There's a reading list there and suggested videos, which is a similar list to what you have in your handout. And the question is, will it work for me? And there's only one way really to know. You've got to try it. And I recommend you try it for 3 months and see what kind of results you have. See what happens to your blood pressure, what happens to your body, what happens to the way your pants fit, your blood sugar, and all of this stuff. So now I'd like to introduce the next guest speaker. This is Bob Barnes. He's been a friend of mine since we grew up together in Odessa, and he did the cut the killer carbs last year, and that was him then. This is him now. And he's not only done the diet, but it's improved his exercise performance, and he'll tell you more about that.
Thanks, Joseph. Appreciate it.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Let me give you this one. Okay.
Thank you. Good to be here today. Yeah, I talked to Justin last year. He was telling me about his program, and so I thought I'd give it a shot. And I'll be honest, I thought, man, that's going to be hard. You know, it's going to be hard not to eat carbs, and I'm going to be, you know, like all everybody's going to think that there's something like, you know, like I can't eat things. I'm weird. But that's not how it was at all. I started doing it, and it was very, very easy. I ate what I wanted to, basically. I ate things that were really good to eat, I thought they were bad to eat before, they were really good. It improved everything about me. And I lost 40 pounds in 3 months. And it improved everything. It improved my health. I actually haven't been sick since I started the diet. I haven't been sick like 1 day since. My energy's up, and I feel better, and I look better, and now I feel better about myself. So I believe in it. I sleep better, and it's really been a pretty amazing deal. Easy to do too. Like, you can eat things like you know, instead of eating donuts, you know, in the morning, I just eat eggs, and I can eat as many eggs as I want, and that's nice. So, does anybody have any questions for me?
Tell them what kind of health food store you run. Tell them
Yes.
what health food store you run.
Yes, I actually own a health food store. It's called a barbecue restaurant. And I market that a lot because I see people like around the town, and they say, "Man, what'd you do? Like you look great." It's like, well, I just eat at my place all the time, and so it's actually improved sales by 10%. I'm kidding on that. Not a percent, but yeah. But I guess the thing is, like at barbecue, I can eat barbecue all day, and like there are things I can't eat. You know, like I can't eat like potato salad. But you know, I can eat brisket, and it's great. You know, I can eat turkey, and I mean it's good. So, and it actually has been good for my business. I actually can tell people that. And then also on top of that, like that when I met Justin, I weighed about what I weigh now, and I was in track. I ran. I just got totally out of that. When I started doing this, I told him, I was like, I don't think I can do that because I need to have carbs so I can exercise and run. Well, I actually had more energy. I was able to run and exercise better. In fact, the other day I ran my fastest 2 mile in 18 years. So that's just since I was in high school. So it's given me a lot of energy. It's really, I mean, just, you know, I get confidence everywhere I go, and it's really been a great thing. It's worth doing. I'll tell you that today. I believe in it. That's why I told him I would be here today, because I believe in it. I mean, I did it. At first, I was like, I don't know about this. I like you, Justin, but I just don't know. But I mean, as you can see, it really has given me good results. I went from being that guy to the good-looking guy on the left.
So, how much weight did you lose?
I lost 40 pounds. I went from 210 pounds to 170 pounds. And that was in 3 months. And I went on a diet. I never got hungry. You know, that's the thing is, you know, a lot of people get on diets and they're hungry. It's miserable, and it makes it hard, you know, and that's the thing. So, yeah, I lost 40 pounds. And I exercised, went with it, but you know, I was healthy. Like I said, I hadn't been sick. My sister started doing the diet. She's lost a lot of weight. She's always wanted to have a child. She wasn't able to have a child. Now she's going to have a child. She's actually she's 1 month pregnant, and I think she's lost about 30 pounds since she got on it. So, any questions on what I eat? I mean, I eat a lot of ribs and sausage and brisket, which is fun.
I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, and Justin, this is for you too. you shouldn't, which maybe you don't, and that's fine. Like, do you feel ill? Like, does it make you feel bad?
No. I
Sick
mean,
or something? Are you like,
no, I don't. But I will tell you, I mean, sometimes, like, there's things that, like, I stopped eating, you know, and like, when I eat them now, it does. I mean, I can tell, like, a difference. Like, before, like, you know, like I've said, you know, like, I stomach a lot. And I don't, I mean, once I started going on, just on the diet that he recommends, I didn't have that. You know, when you go have, like, a bunch of, like, you know, Cheetos, my stomach would be upset. But it really didn't. I cheated every now and then, Justin, sorry.
That's okay. You know, the idea is, if you've achieved your ideal weight, your ideal level of health, and you feel great, and you want to go, it's your birthday, or you want to go with the kids and go get ice cream sometime, you can.
Well, that's the thing. That's what I was going to say is, and you can. You don't feel bad about it because you know when you've lost 40 pounds, you feel good about how you look, and you have, and really, it's just how your mind works now. You don't really miss that, but when you do it, like, you don't feel bad. You know, people feel bad. They feel guilty. That itself, that's, you know, I used to have it. I think, man, I shouldn't be doing this. You know, I shouldn't do this. You know, it actually hurts your self-esteem. Now you don't have that problem. And no, it doesn't make you, but you can tell a difference. You know, there's a, I mean, if you eat a lot of, like, you know, bread, like, you can tell a difference between how if you feel today and how, it reminds you how you should feel. But no, it doesn't make you feel ill.
The one thing I've noticed is, particularly indigestion, that I used to think that if I ate Mexican food, it was because of the spices or the fat or something that gave me the indigestion. It's not. It's the wheat. It's the wheat that's in the Mexican food that would give me indigestion. And so that's the main thing that I'll notice is I'll sit there and I'll think, oh, I haven't had indigestion in ages. Well, what did I eat with the previous meal? So that I'll notice, and it also depends on your level of carbohydrate sensitivity, or if you do have digestive issues or allergic issues. Like my son, if he cheats, he sneezes snot for 3 days. You know, and so that's his symptoms. That's his sensitivity.
I did before though.
Yeah. And that's how he was before we cut the wheat. And when we were in college, Bob went with his family to a trip to Mexico City. His dad's a restaurateur, and he got like intestinal disease or something.
Salmonella.
And his intestines have been kind of messed up since that time. But they're better since he cut the irritating wheat out of his diet.
So what do you recommend instead of carb loading before exercising or after?
You know, I would look up Professor Tim Noakes and see what he recommends for athletes. There's several. There's Tim Noakes, there's Zishan Arain, and there's Peter Bruckner. Because all those guys are sports physicians who train professional athletes. And I'll see what do they recommend. In the afternoon session today, there will be a lady who is a performance biker. She goes on long bike rides, and she's going to talk some in this spot also about what she did when she went low carb and how she went on a 60-something mile bike ride and how she did it low carb. The way she did it was she got completely into ketosis. She cut all the carbs out completely to where she was in total ketosis. And she did which means burning fat. And she knows she was in ketosis because she tested her blood with keto. It's a thing that you prick your finger to see if you're in ketosis. And she did the whole bike ride on ketones, which is burning fat. Yes, ma'am.
I did the Atkins diet about 10 years ago, and I noticed that I had like bad breath. How do you keep that from happening? That's what people tell me. It's because I didn't have any carbs. So how do you keep from it affecting your breath, or has anybody else experienced that?
No.
No, you've never heard of that before?
I don't know. It might be, if you actually are on super low carb, you're down to less than 20 net carbs per day, and your body is in a mild ketosis, and you're making it's called nutritional ketosis, you're making about 4 or 5 millimolar ketones per day. There may be some ketones that come off of your breath.
I would have that.
You did
problem.
experience
No,
that?
no.
But I have been told that by a physician before, that when you're in ketosis, that you will have really bad breath.
I don't like hearing about
Hey,
women.
we didn't have it.
When you say that.
You got lucky.
Yeah.
We're glad you don't run a donut shop.
So did you
I'm
experience?
sorry?
We're glad you don't run a donut shop.
Yeah, if I had a donut shop, I would have had to sold it, because I wouldn't have felt good about myself anymore. Any other questions?
What barbecue place?
It's in Odessa, Texas. It's right in the smokehouse.
Okay.
Best barbecue in the basin for 12 years running.
Where is
It's in Odessa, Texas.
it? Odessa.
Yeah.
What was the name again? Rocky?
Yeah, it's Rock and Q Smokehouse, yeah. Any other questions?
What about when you do, to answer Nicole's question about exercise, I mean, if you do a long run, what do you do differently with your diet? Anything?
You know, I really don't. In fact, I have more energy than I did. Like, I was able to run further and longer than I had since I was a high school athlete. And so that's, to me, that's totally like a myth. I mean, I know that people say that, and I've read it like in magazines and like Runner's World magazines. But I've talked to like other people that are runners, and like they basically have kind of tried what I've done, and they haven't told that really to notice a difference. So, one thing is, I could have a lot of other stuff too. Maybe that was part of it. A lot of sugar and stuff like that.
And that's one of the things that I did along the way was, I'll kind of tell you my weight story, which is, in a way, it's similar to Bob's in that, I'm going to go to the whiteboard here. It's similar to Bob's in that I said, look, I'm done being fat. I'm done with the killer carbs. I'm done snoring every night. And when I was in high school, I was 180 pounds, and I started running, and I would run like 5 miles a day every day, and I got to 160 pounds. And then I went to college and put on the freshman 30, supposed to be freshman 15, but I was probably drinking too much beer. Got put on the freshman 30, and then sometime during my residency, I got depressed. And when I was depressed, I didn't eat breakfast, I didn't eat lunch, I would eat dinner most nights, and I don't know what weight I got to here. But then I moved to Lubbock. I wasn't depressed anymore, and I got to 213.5 pounds. And this is when I decided I was done with the carbs. And my weight, I lost weight, and my goal was 180 pounds. 180 pounds was my goal weight. And so I got to 180 within a few months, probably 3 months, by cutting the carbs and exercising, probably 3 to 6 months. And then I quit exercising. And I knew that when I quit exercising, the weight was going to come back on. Because I knew you had to exercise and eat right to lose weight. And what happened when I quit exercising was I ended up here. 169. Lower than my goal weight with no exercise. So if you're trying to exercise your way out of a weight problem, just exercising your way out of a weight problem won't work. In a Danish study, they took couch potatoes, like people who did no physical activity at all. They took those couch potatoes and they trained them to run marathons. So from couch potato to marathon. I mean, a marathon, super endurance, right? And guess how much weight they lost on average? Anyone?
30.
5 pounds. From couch potato to marathon. They lost 5 pounds on average. Exercise is good for you in a lot of ways. It releases endorphins, it makes you feel good, it can help your HDL cholesterol, but exercise is not a way to lose weight because exercise makes you hungry. You burn the calories. And I hate watching that show, The Biggest Loser. They take those poor, morbidly obese people and they make them do these horrible exercises where, you know, it wouldn't be an exciting television show. If they put them on a low carbohydrate, high fat diet, then they would get to where they would lose all the weight without having to strain and struggle that much, and then they could do some athletic competitions afterwards. And that seems like it would be more humane. Because all of the exercise and endurance things that they're doing to those people on the television show that's not helping them lose weight. It may help them build muscle. It may help them build muscle, it may help them improve their endurance, it may help them feel good about themselves. So,
Right, I was gonna say too, I was kind of the same way on my journey, and I hit about 170, and that's where because I was losing so much weight. After a while, I was like, I'm gonna waste away now, you know.
that's what I thought. I thought I was going to waste away.
But I hit 170, and then I didn't lose anymore. I guess that's like where I'm supposed to be, you know. So, any other questions?
Any plateaus along the way?
No, not really.
It was a steady.
It was easy. I mean, it really was. That's the thing. Is like I do want to, make that point. Is when I started it, I thought this is going to be hard to do, but it really wasn't. I mean, I wasn't hungry. It was easy. I was losing weight. I was seeing like results. You know, I see people on the street saying, "Hey, you're looking good," and I say, "All right, thank you." You know, and it just made it easier and easier. You know, so I went through it.
And the thing is that the diet works, but it is easier for some people than other people. And for us, we're men.
Yeah.
Easier for men. And also, we are premenopausal men. So if you're post-menopausal, we went through the slide about what your net carb should be for the day. If you're a carb counter, and you want to look at, if you want to numbers, then get the Atkins book. But basically, somewhere at less than 20 net carbs per day, you're definitely going to lose weight. For a lot of people, if you're somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 to 100 net carbs per day, you're going to lose weight and you're going to get all the health benefits we're talking about here. You're going to have low insulin, low blood sugar, you're going to stop that insulin cascade of disease at this 60 to 100 level. But the thing is, the whole range is somewhere from 20 to 100. If you're a young, healthy male, you can eat more carbs and still lose weight. It's not fair. If you're older, or if you're female, the number's a little lower. If you're postmenopausal female, the number's lower. So you have to carb restrict even more to get the same level of results. All right, thank you, Bob. Our next guest speaker is here. The next guest speaker is here. I'd like to introduce everybody. First of all, I'd like to apologize to Mark because I didn't make him a slide like this. So let's see if we can get you a package on. We'll give you this. You're not really supposed to. Okay, here you go. This is kind of a generic background. So Dr. Mark Hall, he's a physician. He's a pediatrician here in town. And I believe that, I could be wrong, but I believe I kind of mentioned to him wheat-free diet. Did I mention that to you? See, when I became a sold-out believer and I was telling everybody, and then I want him to tell the story of his blood pressure medications, and he can also tell you some about how he eats and what on earth do you eat if you don't eat bread, so that you're not just hearing the story from me. Chairman Paul?
Yes. Very good. Well, let me see. Okay, maybe about a year and a half ago, I was at the farmer's market talking to Justin. I didn't have long to talk to him. It was just a short conversation. He started talking about the weed that his family's off of it. So not a lot of information. I remember going away thinking, well, that's kind of weird. And Justin doesn't strike me as the sort of person to do something weird like that. But that was my first introduction. I started hearing about it more on the media occasionally, and ended up having supper with a friend of mine who's a family practice doctor, and he talked about it in length and done amazing stories about some of his patients that inflammatory bowel disease and that. So I got the book Wheat Belly and read it, and I was convinced. And I didn't really there weren't any issues that I was concerned about that I needed to go away that book addressed. But it just sounded like, this is not good for us. Modern wheat is bad stuff. And the inflammation that it causes and coronary artery disease down the line. So I decided to stop eating wheat, at least to do it for a short time. And that would allow me to be able to get through it if I didn't try to make it a permanent thing. But first thing I noticed about 6 weeks later is that my back stopped hurting. About 3 decades ago, I was in a car wreck. I rear-ended, and every day since that day, my upper back has hurt. Sometimes more than others, but every day. And it just stopped. And I figured that the trauma that occurred there, the inflammation that was there, just never was able to leave. When you have inflammation, is a fire that kind of feeds itself. It will eventually die down, but if you smash your thumb and every day you're knocking it against something, it never will heal up. And that the inflammation that wheat causes was jacking up my back, and it stopped hurting altogether. I can't tell you how happy I was. I've had high blood pressure for a number of years now, and my dad had high blood pressure. And I was on 3 medications, an ACE inhibitor and 2 diuretics. And even then, my blood pressure was poorly controlled. It was, on a good day, it was, say, 150 over 90. And most days weren't good days. But I didn't want to get on another medicine. I would will it to go down. So I took my blood pressure about 3 times a week. And so around that same time, my back stopped hurting. My blood pressure started dropping. And I didn't put 2 and 2 together. I don't know why. But after another week or so, my blood pressure was like in the low 90s and over low 50s. So I figured I better stop taking my blood pressure medicine. And then I realized the only thing I'm doing different is I'm not eating wheat. And it's been that way ever since. I wasn't looking to lose weight, but I lost about 15 pounds just in the course of it in those first few months. I always admire guys that carry their weight well when they do gain weight. Just my genetics, if I gain 15 pounds, it's all in my belly and my face, and I look ridiculous. And I didn't ever have a problem even with that until I was like 35. I'll be 50 in March. And around 35 or so, it was hard to keep that extra 15 or 20 pounds off all the time. But now I don't really watch what I eat in that sense. I just don't eat wheat. And also just in all that reading that I was doing, Wheat Belly and other resources, I just realized how our food pyramid was just made up by politicians. There's no scientific basis for it. And when they started mandating that everybody eats, mandating whatever, starts eating 300 grams of carbohydrates a day, well, that's when America started developing obesity epidemic. So I eat less than 100 a day and don't eat. A lot of people ask me, well, what do you eat? And wheat is in a lot of things, and you do have to make some effort, but I also am a big believer in just not eating processed foods in the first place now, and one of the reasons for that is just the oils that are in those vegetable oils are terrible for you. Cholesterol and fat doesn't cause heart disease. heart disease, and vegetable oils are part of that problem. It's like taking a Brillo pad and scrubbing the inside of your arteries. So I stay away from most boxed, packaged, ready-to-go stuff that has a lot of ingredients in it, because it always contains those oils because they're more stable. But, you know, I can go to the meat department, and I can go to the vegetable section and the fruit section, and I eat, if I want to eat pasta, I eat pasta that's not made with the same, as long as it says durum on it, then it's not made with modern wheat, which is the problem. And I don't eat a lot of it, like I said, I probably keep it under about 100 grams a day. I have 8 chickens in my backyard, just over here in that terrace, and I eat a lot of eggs. I eat at least 4 eggs a day with bacon. Sometimes 6, because I put them in other things. And my doctor, last time I went to see him a few months ago, he said, it's been a long time since we've done blood work on you. I almost told him not to do it, because I really don't believe it matters what your cholesterol is anymore. But I was curious, so we did it, and my total cholesterol was 150, and all the other numbers were perfect too. And I cook everything in butter or bacon grease. I eat a lot of eggs. When you don't eat carbohydrates, a lot more of your calories come from fat. And as long as you keep it under, you know, that 2,000 calories or whatever you expend during the day, it doesn't act the same way as carbohydrates, and it doesn't, fats don't make you fat. It doesn't cause heart disease. That's my story. Any questions? No? All right, well, thanks for.
Do you happen to know, this is kind of a random question, you said you live in Pictares, is there a city ordinance, I thought, we gotta get some chickens, because, I mean, is there?
There's
someone-
not.
There's
There's
not.
no city ordinance. You don't want to have roosters,
Right.
because there are city ordinances that say that if you have something like that that's a nuisance, then they'll come after you. But the city doesn't like you having them. So I've heard stories from people that if they found that they had them, they told them they had to get rid of them anyway, but they can't produce an ordinance for it. So just don't have a rooster, and give your neighbors eggs so that they're not inclined to complain about it, and you'll be all right.
Chickens are very quiet and they're very clean, as long as you don't have a rooster. So, there you go.
I have a question, based on what Justin has said and what you have said. My question is, I'm assuming that you all think it's safe for young children to do this diet as well. As a pediatrician, do you feel that way too?
Yes, I tell I was an evangelist for a while there, so I still tell people about it, but I was telling everybody about it when those changes occurred. But yeah, it certainly isn't a problem to not eat wheat. And we have a lot of kids. You wouldn't believe how many kids I see that are obese, I mean, it's terrible the effects that it has on them. And tell them to cut down on carbohydrates. Just, keep it to a minimum, less than 100. That can't hurt anybody. And you get enough carbohydrates from fruits and vegetables that I mean, if you're wanting to cut out all those starchy things, you can. It's not going to hurt you. You get all the carbohydrates you need from fruits and vegetables. But even if you want to add, rice and pasta and some of that, just keep it, reasonable to a reasonable amount. And you'll be okay. I don't have a lot of people that take me up on that. People eat what they eat, and it's hard for a lot of people to change that. Anybody else?
Have you noticed it making a difference in children with behavior disorders and stuff? ADHD and whatnot?
Yes, I do have a few people that take me up on it when they feel like things are just too much to manage. And I've had and so many of our kids have attention deficit disorder. I hate even calling it that. I think there's a normal spectrum of human behavior, and God did not make children to sit for 8 hours quietly and concentrated on things, but nevertheless, with that, with that diagnosis. I've had a couple of moms that took me up on it and definitely saw improvement.
Are their kids off the medication now or no?
No, but medication doesn't fix the problem. It just makes it more manageable, but you still got to manage it. It's a much more manageable form.
Great, thank you, Mark.
So what do y'all do with these chickens? They just, it's like a dog, it just like roams around in your yard, or it's like caged in, or? That's what I'm-
The chickens have a portion of the yard, it is their portion of the yard. That way, there's not chicken poop everywhere. And they have little coop, and they sleep there at night, and then they have their portion of the yard. It's like a dog run. Some people have a dog run.
Yeah.
We have a chicken run.
They're out there and like doing everything.
Chickens are not smart animals, but at nighttime, they're smart enough to put themselves up. So we close the doors after they put themselves up. You can come over at lunch and see. We're going to have lunch at the house. So we'll do a closing, this kind of closing section. Remember, there's always more to learn. And this is School of the Domestic Arts in Lubbock. I recommend that you Google it. And they do cooking classes, gardening classes. They're a place where you can get fermented foods. Fermented foods contain a lot of probiotics, which are good for your digestive health. They have a Facebook page at School of the Domestic Arts and then blog, schoolofthedomesticarts.com. And so definitely check them out. If you want to learn more about health, am I too loud? Okay. If you want to learn more about healthy foods, whole foods, gardening, they'll tell you that. Also, the folks at the natural health market, these guys are really intelligent and really knowledgeable about probiotics and nutrients and digestive enzymes, other supplements, multivitamins, things that you might want to know about. Now, I'll tell you the story of this baby here. This is baby Olivia, who you guys met earlier. This was when she was about 4 months old. And baby Olivia was a colicky baby. From the day she was born, she had green, watery, greasy baby poop. And it was not normal. And we kept thinking it would go away. She was colicky, she cried all the time, she screamed, she was tense, just tense and clutched up. My wife and I were at the end of our rope after about 4 months. We called a pediatrician. We sent a stool sample in via the pediatrician, and the lab said the stool was normal. But we knew that green, watery, slimy poop for 4 months in a baby was not normal. And we thought, well, maybe the baby, they have like probiotics or something for a baby. And we didn't even know. So we called over at the natural health market and we asked them, do they have, is there like, we told them what was going on with the baby, said, are there like probiotics or something for the baby? And the lady who answered the phone said, oh yeah. She said, was the baby born C-section? We said, yes. And she said, well, every C-section baby needs probiotics because they don't get the beneficial bacteria passing through the birth canal. They don't get that bacteria that they need to digest their milk and their food. So every C-section should have probiotics. So my father-in-law picked up the probiotics at the natural health market, carried them to the house, and gave them to the baby. And in 2 days, the baby was completely transformed. After 4 months, the baby had the first normal baby food that the baby had ever made. The colic was gone, the screaming was gone, all of the clenched up and tightness. And the tightness and being clenched up must have just been from pain. She must have felt horrible, was gone. So there's more to learn in people like the Natural Health Market, either at 82nd Street at Quaker or at 50th Street, just west of Memphis. They can be a good resource for you. Probiotics we mentioned. Omega-3, there's a whole discussion about, that's why Dr. Hall said, you know, the vegetable oils are bad for you because they contain omega-6 fat. Small versus large LDL. We had the cholesterol discussion earlier. There's a book called Cholesterol Clarity by Jimmy Moore. You can read that book if you want to learn more about cholesterol. The supplements, I recommend just about everybody take a vitamin D supplement. And how much should you take? Most doctors measure your vitamin D levels now as part of your health plan. So you should take enough vitamin D supplements to get your vitamin D to the high level of normal. If vitamin D levels, I think, are normal between like 30 and 150. And, you know, my vitamin D might be 31. It's normal, but I would say that's not optimal. You should take in a vitamin D supplement, get yourself retested until you get up toward the high normal. Most patients need an omega-3 like a fish oil and also a multivitamin. And the reason you need a multivitamin is because we're deficient. The soils are deficient of trace elements. Trace elements and minerals like selenium, manganese, things like that. You'll get those from a good high quality multivitamin. So pick a book and keep learning. If you want to stop drinking, this book is called Alcohol Lies to Me. Very successful. If you want to stop smoking, this is Alan Carr's Easy Way to Stop Smoking. And I went on a health journey. Essentially, I lost the weight first, and then I stopped the Diet Cokes, and then I thought, well, you know, alcohol is not really like a healthy thing for me, so I stopped drinking. So it's all part of the same process, the same journey. Wheat Belly is a book I definitely recommend. This movie, Fathead the movie, you can watch it for YouTube for free. The guy eats fast food every single day. He eats fast food, KFC, Taco Bell, McDonald's, every single day for a month. You know what he does? He loses weight. And you know how he does it? By keeping his carbohydrate count less than 100 net carbs a day. So, I don't recommend you do that. I don't think it's the healthiest thing for your body. But you can eat out as long as you cut the carbs. You can eat out with regular people at a regular restaurant sometimes. Just cut the carbs. The Alzheimer's disease book, I just recommend it because this is a lady, she's a physician. She treats her husband with coconut oil to improve the symptoms of his Alzheimer's disease. Because low carbohydrate ketogenic diets force your brain to run on ketones. Ketones fuel the brain more efficiently than sugar. So patients with Alzheimer's disease can get better on coconut oil and low carb, high fat diet. And what we were taught in medical school was that there are three choices. When some patient has a disease, the patient can either suffer with the disease or the patient can take a medication. But there are two problems with taking a medication. Number one is that often the medications are lifelong. Just like Dr. Hall said, he had blood pressure, he had high blood pressure for years. He was on 3 medications for blood pressure. And to get rid of those 3 medications, all he did was cut the wheat. He didn't even cut all the killer carbs out of his diet. He just cut the wheat. So there's actually, and his story really shows the point that there's actually a third choice. And the third choice is that you can cut the killer carbs. So we're going to close. This is the very last section of the whole deal. And I want you guys to help me with choice 3. And choice 3 is
Cut the killer carbs.
You got it. So what I'm trying to say in this presentation is that if you have weight problems, there are pills that you can take. Or you can just cut the killer carbs. If you have diabetes, there are tons of medications, there are injections that they release, not just insulin, but new injections coming out all the time. You can take the pills and you can take the shots, or you can cut the killer carbs. Atherosclerosis leading to heart attack and stroke. There's pills that you can take to improve those risk factors, or you can just cut the killer carbs. And remember, all of these risk factors, gone. Those are heart disease risk factors, gone by this change in diet. High blood pressure, just like Dr. Hall, you can take 3 medications, or there are over 200 medications listed. You can take your pills, or you can just cut the killer carbs. PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, leading to infertility in women. You've heard stories of people today that you can either take the pills or you can cut the killer carbs. Alzheimer's disease, we talked about the ketogenic diet. There are pills you can take or you can cut the killer carbs. And we just talked about, Dr. Hall talked about Ritalin, ADHD. You can get improvements in these kids' behaviors with medications, or you can also got to kill the carbs. Depression, the same thing. There are like a million depression medications out there. The thing is that wheat has certain, the exorphins in wheat, they kind of mess with your brain chemistry and the addictive. Also, the addictive aspects don't help either. So if you have depression, you can take a ton of different medications, or you can cut the carbs. As an analogy, the same. You can take the meds, or you can cut the killer carbs. And this is the one I find most irritating. Irritable bowel syndrome. Because lots of digestive issues are a direct result of toxicity of the food, like the wheat gluten is irritating your digestive system. And you can take a pill like this, and the asterisk says, this was seen in animal studies, and the relevance to humans is not known. So you can take a pill whose relevance to humans is not known, or you can just cut the killer carbs. All right, thank you, everybody. That's it.
Thank you.